Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.
It's Croctober, the official celebration of Crocs fans like you. So whether you like to rock your classic clogs, get cozy and fuss-lined, personalize with your favorite Jibbitz charms, or even, dress up like a clog for Halloween, it's time to tell your story and share your style. Join the Croctober celebration with Crocs fans around the world. Go to crocs.com to discover the range of shoes and find a pair that's iconic like you. Crocs, celebrating you all month long.
Are you taking Psych 105 with Professor Walsh?
Yeah, I'm gonna try. She's not afraid of the long words, huh?
Yeah, she's pretty intense. A lot of the courses are really tough.
I'm a little upset. I had it on good authority that this was a party school.
I think it's supposed to get easier.
I still feel like carrying around a security blanket.
Of human bondage. Have you ever read it?
Oh, I'm not really into porn. I'm trying to cut way back.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Boys Watching Buffy. We're just two boys watching every episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer for the first time and giving our review, our reactions. We're your hosts. I'm Joe Welke.
I am Vance.
And today we're starting Season 4. Season 4, Episode 1, titled The Freshman, written and directed by Joss Whedon. The original air date is October 5th, 1999, to an audience of 6.79 million people. And everybody, we got some shout outs to get to. You guys, you're fiending for these shout outs now that you know that you get them.
These shout outs are worth something.
Yeah. So first shout out, want to give it to MJ Sums for the lovely Apple podcast review. Thank you so much for that.
And we have another one from Carrie Soros. Very nice one. Really appreciate this one. This one's great. I know it's not showing up for you on Apple Podcasts,
yeah,
but
I can't see that one.
It's on our Chartable.
I can see MJ Sums, and MJ Sums is also a very nice one.
Yeah.
We're not saying which one's better.
Yeah,
we're just saying thank you. They're both nice ones.
5 stars. And don't feel bad. Don't think that you're gonna give us a big head with all these 5-star reviews. We still hate ourselves. So.
Yes, we still look at ourselves in the mirror every day and cry a little.
We yell, you're nothing. We yell at ourselves in the mirror. And so we
wish that we were vampires so we couldn't see ourselves in the mirror. But alas.
Yeah, so thank you. So if you want to get a shout out, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. And we've had people mention, what about other stuff like Spotify? Can they send us a screen grab of, because Spotify doesn't let you do reviews. I think they just let you star rating. And we do appreciate those star ratings too.
Yeah, if you do that, we'll give you a shout out. It will be less intense.
I don't want to get a bunch of screen grabs from people.
Send the screen grabs.
All right. Send them straight to Joe's Instagram.
Yeah, at Joe Welke.
Yeah.
Join the Discord, join the Patreon. We're starting Angel. We've got Angel up.
Oh, we've seen the first episode.
We've seen the first episode of Angel. I don't know if it'll be up right now.
When this comes out, it'll be up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Our schedule's getting a little weird.
Yeah, our schedule's getting a little strange at the moment. I don't know where we are in time and space.
You're hearing this in 2025.
Yeah, I just had my parents come to visit me and threw my life upside down. I have a lot of home repairs to do now. So I'm all out of sorts, guys. Yeah. So I don't know where I am.
Joe might not drink, but his parents sure do.
Yeah, so let's get into the freshmen.
They don't listen to the podcast, do they?
No. My mom actually just started. She was listening to the prom episode or the latest episode, like in my face. She was like, "This is what you got people paying to listen to this?" I was like, "Well, not that one, the other one."
We're hoping that someone pays to listen.
You know what? People are paying to listen to this shit? I never even seen this Buffy bullshit. This is how my mom talks, everybody.
Oh, man. Do we want to bring her on as a guest?
Oh, my God, no. What the hell's all these vampires? Why don't they just shoot them with water guns? That's what we've been saying, Mom.
How come he gets to go into that building and not that building?
Oh, man. Don't want to get into it.
No.
But what I do want to get into is the Freshman. So without further ado, this episode opens up with what else? Buffy in a graveyard. She's wandering around. She's on patrol, and she's there with Willow. And Willow and her are discussing which classes Buffy should sign up for. And Willow is like giving her all of the rundown of all the classes that are still available. And Buffy's like, I don't want to take any of the. I don't want to take this introduction to the novel. I don't want to take this other class. She just kind of wants to take the easy classes, so Willow finds one.
She should take the easy classes. I have no idea why she's trying to take... Like, why pretend like you have a future?
Yeah.
Like you're just going to be like an astrophysicist or an engineer working a regular job? Like, no.
So Willow's looking up classes for her, and she's like, well, here's one. It's dissecting pop culture. And Buffy's like, so we just get to like watch movies and TV shows? And Willow's like, and commercials sometimes. You just talk about them. It's like, wow, Buffy would have had a great podcast. Buffy Watching Buffy.
As someone that went to film school, I know those classes very well.
Yeah, I took one of those classes. I think I got a B in it. All the classes that I took that were supposed to be easy, I ended up getting B's in.
It's like being late when you are really close to something, you know? You think it's going to be a lot shorter distance, a lot easier. And so you kind of don't go in there expecting it to be as hard.
I got a B in improvisational dance.
And look at you now.
Like, how the fuck?
Doing aerial tricks.
That's true. I do. I am a dancer, I guess.
Go back to that teacher. How do you like me?
What now, bitch? But yeah, Buffy's talking about, Willow's like, well, this would have been a lot easier. A lot of the classes would have been open if you had selected your major and if you had signed up for all these classes. And Buffy's kind of like, well, you know, it was a sleigh heavy summer. I had a lot of stuff going on. And now we're just waiting for this guy in this graveyard to pop up out of the grave. And his vampire starts popping up out of the grave behind him while they're talking about all this.
We mentioned this in the bonus episode that we released about the Buffy the Slayer movie, about these people popping out of graveyards. We won't go into it here, but, you know, check that out if you want to hear our thoughts on that. So
he comes out and he starts to creep up behind him, and he sees all the weapons that Buffy has just waiting for him. He looks at him. He's like, I'm not going to deal with this. He just bolts. I was like, this is the smartest vampire in the city.
So in this scene, she says, Giles thinks I should go back to the secret identity thing in college. She says that, and I'm like, right, whatever. And it's a whole new group of people. It seems so fine. But also,
it's still in the same city. I mean, Willow talks about like it's 5 miles away.
Yeah, it should get crossed. They'd be like, "Oh, you're from Sunnydale High, the school that blew up."
Yeah, she's like, "That's 5 miles away." You would hear a gigantic explosion 5 miles away.
It would be on the news. They still get the same radio and TV stations.
Yeah, like did the whole city cover this up? Yeah. Like everyone that saw it? Like, there's no way.
This would be the story of the summer.
Yeah.
But this vampire is just birthed, and somehow he knows that she's a slayer.
Yeah.
Like, does that information translate over?
Yeah, because I thought that vampires were supposed to get smarter as they were vampires for longer periods.
Yeah, I would think that if you came to as a vampire, you wouldn't know vampire history. You wouldn't even know what a slayer is.
Yeah, I guess it was just for the gag, you know, but yeah.
He doesn't come back either, does he?
I don't think he does.
Which is weird. I thought he was going to be the guy that got away because they weren't paying attention and he wreaked havoc. But no, it's just like funny gag.
Just a gag.
Yeah.
But yeah, she says that Giles tells her she's got to be secret identity again. And vampire dips. We get the intro song. And then we come back to Buffy, and she's on the UC Sunnydale campus, and she's looking around. She's all confused. There's all kinds of people walking all over the place, and she's hugging her folders, and she's like, I don't know where to go. Somebody's yelling, like, if you got this color folder, you got to go to Weissman Hall. And Buffy's like, I don't know where that is. She starts walking around. There's all these rallies happening. There's all these people handing out flyers for causes that they care about, which is pretty... This is a pretty good depiction of like a college.
Yeah, I was getting
scene.
Little weird flashbacks to this.
Dude, same. Yeah. I absolutely did. I was like, oh no. I'm getting like these anxious feelings.
Yeah, I didn't even like hate college or anything. And I got like this anxiety, PTSD almost feeling.
Yeah, man. They did that well.
Yeah. I don't think there would be pledges walking around already.
Yeah, there definitely was.
You still got to get through rush week, but and the opening day. But like, yeah, all the frantic quad stuff. If you went to a college that had like a quad and like rooms and stuff like that in dorms. Yeah. So she's looking around. Buffy's all confused, and she's looking for Weissman Hall because that's where she has to go. And she runs into Willow, and Willow is fucking jazzed to be at college. She's like, hey, what's up, Buffy? And she knows her way around. She's like, oh, I already did all this stuff. I got here early. I already figured out all my classes, all my student ID shit. I got everything. And you're kind of fucked because, you know, you didn't get here early, but I love being really ripping into her about like not being organized.
Yeah. So then Willow's like, I love being here, man. This place is awesome. Like in high school, you know, knowing stuff was like the death of you. Like if you knew stuff, it was not preferred. But here, you know, the intelligence is permeating, and it's stiffening, and it's thrusting into me, and it's spurting knowledge into my head. And Buffy's like, Jesus. And Willow's like, oh yeah, this is getting a little too sexual.
Yeah, I mean, she was going real, like, to a point where she should have figured out what she was doing earlier.
Oh, absolutely. She did like 5 in a row.
Yeah. Also, this is a party school. They mentioned Jello shots about 30 times.
Yeah.
This is not a permeating education and learning.
Dude, one time I went to this party, and they were having a fuckload of Jello shots, and somebody must have done a bunch of them, and they puked, and their puke was the color of the rainbow because all the Jello shots just on the ground. It was so gross, man. But anyway, so after the old sex analogy, Buffy's like, yeah, I mean, I'm happy that you're stoked, but like, you know, aren't you feeling a little overwhelmed? Isn't this a little overwhelming? And Willow's like, absolutely not. This is great. I can't wait for college to start. Buffy's like, okay, well, this makes sense for Willow. This is her people. She's an egghead. And they happen upon Oz, who is also going to school there. And he's like, hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? A lot of madness going on here, huh? And Buffy's like, thank God, somebody I can relate to. Oz, isn't this crazy? Don't you feel a little overwhelmed? And then some guy's like, yo, what's up, Oz? You playing at our frat party tonight? And Oz is like, of course I am. He like daps him up. Yeah. That guy leaves, and then a bunch of other guys come up to Oz and like, Oz, what's going on, dude? And Oz is like, hell yeah. And then Buffy's feeling even shittier. She's like, oh, Oz is not very overwhelmed. He's like, yeah, my band plays at this college all the time.
Yeah, I mean, he's been playing at this college probably for 2 years. Like at this point.
And he's just like winking and waving at other people, and so Buffy's like, oh wow, I really am alone and feeling overwhelmed now.
Willow's living her best life, and she got a new haircut. She looks like she's thinner and taller.
She does, dude. She looks like she's taller than Buffy. Yeah. You know, the haircut that she has on the picture for this on Wikipedia is terrible. This haircut looks fantastic. She looks great.
Yeah, I think she looks a little too thin almost, I would say.
Uh-oh.
Well, I'm just saying, hey, you know. But she looks different. She looks completely different. Buffy looks pretty much the same. Oz looks the same.
Oz is a little more red-haired in this than he was when we last saw him. But
his hair changed so much, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, then Buffy and Willow go walking around, and they're like, man, I wonder what the rest of the gang's up to. You know, this is kind of weird. Like, we don't have the gang. Like, Xander is on his cross-country road trip. His goal is to drive to all 50 states. Oh, did you tell him about Hawaii? Oh, but
yeah.
I wonder if Giles is going to be what he's up to. You know, it'd be nice if Giles was the librarian here. And as soon as they said that, I fully expected them to turn the corner into the library and Giles was going to be there and be like, oh, hello.
I thought maybe when they said that he would be the teacher, like you had predicted. Like, oh, he'd be like, too bad he's just teaching study hall or something. Just something random.
He's like the cafeteria lady. Yeah. It's like flopping slop on the kids' plates.
Making sure no one poisons the super jello or whatever.
But yeah, they were like, wouldn't that be convenient if Giles was the librarian here, huh? Wink, wink, wink. And then they turn a corner and Willow's like, here's the library. And it's this, it's a gigantic, enormous college library.
Yeah. Did you watch this on Hulu or Roku?
Yes,
channel?
I watched it on Hulu.
Was it a weird camera when they showed the library? Like this weird, like fisheye, low angle thing?
There was a little bit of weirdness going on in Hulu. There were some spots where it was like there was black static on like the backlight part of it. Like it looks weird, but I don't.
The library
they did have like a weird
to me.
They had a weird like what is it, GoPro 360 kind of looking thing.
I was like, this library doesn't look like. I think a library. I think of Seven, that movie Seven, when like Morgan Freeman goes into the library and he's like doing the researching, like that old school, like, I don't know. These shots did not make that library look better than the school library.
Well, it looked like a gigantic cathedral. Like it had a big, huge ceiling and there was a lot of books. And Willow's like, this library is awesome. Our library at high school sucked ass compared to this. Like this is great.
It shouldn't be bigger than a college's library.
Yeah, absolutely. And Buffy's like, all right, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. I'm gonna go away from this and let's go do something else. And
maybe Buffy's panic attack is what makes it feel more panic attacky. Like she's like clutching her chest this whole time.
Yeah, dude. So then they go book shopping, which was always the worst.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was when I saw that I was like, oh my god, when you have to look and see how much books cost. Because I think people in the Discord that are not from the U.S. were shocked at having to pay a little bit to like apply to things.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have to pay for books in Europe, but they make us pay for books.
They make us pay for books and they're fucking expensive as shit.
And then you try to sell them back.
For like half the cost.
Yeah. It's the GameStop model.
Yeah, it's so brutal, dude. Like the books are so expensive. And then some of them you can't even sell again because they'll be doing a different edition the next year, or it's like a workbook and it's still like super expensive. So Buffy's looking at books and they're looking at Buffy's in Psychology 105. And so she finds the textbook for Psych 105, which is very inconveniently located on top of the bookshelf.
Now, when you saw those and Buffy's like, oh, I'll get it. Did you think she was going to use her super jumping power, jump up and grab them and come back down?
I absolutely did. I thought she was just, or even just use her regular human jumping power.
Yeah.
Because they weren't like that far out of her reach.
And I like that Willow's like, I can't reach them even though I'm 5 inches taller than you. But like, oh, Buffy, you got it.
Yeah, but instead, Buffy jumps up and slaps the books off of the top of the bookshelf, and they fall and they tumble and they smack this dude on the head that's underneath.
Him. She killed him.
Absolutely killed the guy. That's how high these books were.
They were 3 thick-ass psychology textbooks landed right on the back of his skull.
This guy, it would have hurt him quite a bit.
He jokes about having a concussion, but like, no lie. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if all 3 of those hit him, those were thick-ass textbooks, dude.
The corner of one of those books?
Oof.
Done.
Take your eye out, kid. But yeah, they fall and they land onto a man's head, and his name is Riley. And he's like, what the fuck? What the hell is this, boys? Bullshit. Why are you doing this? And Buffy's like, sorry, the psych books were up top and I was trying to reach him. He's like, don't worry about it, sweet cheeks. My name's Riley. I have the most boring voice ever. I have the most boring voice and I am a very wooden actor.
He is the new Angel.
Yeah.
He has like, he doesn't have Angel as dialogue. He has basically the Whedon flirtatious dialogue, but he has qualities.
He's like kind of stuttery though. Like he's not sure of himself. It seems like when he first meets Buffy and Willow.
Well, he did just have books dropped on his head.
True, very true. But he sees the psych books and he's like, "Oh, you guys are taking psych? Taking it with Ms. Walsh,
Professor Walsh.
Sorry, Maggie Walsh. Well, I'm the TA for that class." And then Willow's like, "No way, I love Maggie Walsh." And then Riley and Willow start bonding over psychology, and they go off and they start talking about that and yammering about nerd shit. And Buffy's like, "I'm left out again." Oh.
And I'm like, how is that different than high school? Because you were not like the popular girl there. It wasn't like everyone was like, "Oh, Buffy," and her two other weird friends. It was normally like, "Who are you again, Buffy?"
Yeah.
Until prom came and we all remembered you and didn't say anything. They basically gaslit her for 3 years. And then we're like, "Oh, no, we saw what you were doing. We just didn't want to say anything."
So all throughout this episode so far, Buffy and Willow have been talking about like, you excited to meet your roommate? You know who it is? No, I don't know who it is. Who's your roommate? No, I don't know who my roommate is. I haven't met him yet either. And I was like, they're definitely going to end up as roommates.
My question was, why are they not roommates?
They could ask. You could request roommates.
I was roommates with someone from my high school because we found out we were going to the same college and was like, and we're like, we were good enough friends, but we weren't like hanging out all the time in high school. But I was like, yeah, I'd rather live with him in my freshman year than just take my chance 50 like randomly.
Dude.
So yeah, like you could just say, "Oh, we want to be roommates." I don't understand. Like I understand expanding the world for this show, but logistically it's no way Willow and Buffy aren't roommates. They would have loved to be roommates.
Yeah. Dude, you want to talk about random? I lived my first dorm at University of Maryland. I lived with 5 juniors in a suite because they didn't have enough housing in the freshman dorms.
Oh, that'll set you back a little bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool and like kind of off-putting, you know?
It was a nice room. Like it was a nice like apartment type deal. But like I didn't get the freshman dorm experience like everybody else did. And they're like, "Oh, this guy was on my floor."
Yeah.
I lived like above the women's basketball team.
Oh no, the freshmen, like being with all the freshmen is like the best way to have it. When I transferred schools, I was living with like away from like, it was New York, so it wasn't really a campus, but I was in the Jersey like high rises, which I was like, oh, that sucks. But we had like no security guards. It was like, you could just walk in, you could invite people to stay without anything. We had like a doorman. Like it was
That's awesome.
Awesome. And we had like every room, every floor, the first 7 floors, the 4 corner apartments were for the school people, you know?
Yeah.
So we had the biggest apartments overlooking the city
so
and the
sick,
lake. And it was just like, it was like 2 bathrooms, dishwasher, like it was amazing. And I was living with upperclassmen. But it was my second sophomore year. So like, you know, whatever. At that point, it was like fine. But
yeah, man, I missed out on all that. But I did live in a frat house. Was not in a frat though. Lived in a frat house for 2 years. And they were like, "You gotta join. You should join. You should join." I was like, "Nah, I'm good."
The fact that you're not a drinker.
Well, that's what they were like. How are we gonna haze him if he does join?
Yeah.
And they're like, "Yeah, okay, good point."
Yeah.
But yeah, so Buffy goes to finally meet her roommate, and it is not Willow. I thought they were gonna have like a little meet cute, like bump into each other, like, "This is my room." Well, this can't be my room. This is my room. We're roommates.
No, it wouldn't have worked with the theme because she definitely has to be like completely out of place.
Yeah. Instead, Buffy goes to her room and she meets her roommate, who is named Kathy. Kathy seems like a lovely lady. She's like, "Hey, it's good to meet you. It's crazy here, huh? I'm excited that you're going to be my roommate. You seem like a cool person. I can tell a cool person when I see one." And she hangs up her Celine Dion poster. And she's like, "Don't worry, I'm not like a crazy party girl or anything, but there are quite a bit of parties. I heard about Jello shots like 95 times on my walk here."
My thing with her is there's a moment where she's like, oh, you picked the right side. And she's like, yeah, is that a problem? She's like, no, I just want to make sure you wanted it. And I wasn't sure if that was like a undercutty statement by her. Like, I wasn't sure when she said that if she was like trying to mess with Buffy's head or something.
Yeah, I didn't understand what was going on with that either. Because Kathy has all of her shit on the left bed.
Yeah, and Buffy seems like she already moved in to that room earlier in the day. Yo,
and also I gotta say, this room is fucking huge.
Amazing, dude.
It's amazing. That dorm room is enormous, dude. Yeah. No, I was like, this is not the college experience, dude.
It's 2 twin-size beds slammed next to each other. And you're like, hey, should we stack these and make them bunk beds so we have like some floor space?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if like UC Sunnydale is like a private school or what, but like every dorm that I've ever seen, even at private schools, are dog shit. Yeah. This room is amazing, dude.
Yeah.
But
and Buffy looks at that Celine Dion poster like, uh-oh, this is going to be trouble.
Yeah. She was like, "Oh fuck,
this is like Celine Dion. Peak Titanic time."
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Kathy looks cool. She's got a cool little like punk rocker haircut. It looks like it's all spiky and shit.
But she snores and mumbles.
Yeah, we cut to her snoring and mumbling, and Buffy's like, "God damn it, I hate college. It sucks."
I'm just sleeping with my boyfriend who didn't breathe.
Yeah. So then it's the next day and Buffy's going to class and we see the beginning of this lecture and it's the guy who is teaching the dissecting pop culture class. He's walking around. He's got a big old Diet Coke or something.
It looks like he has like a mason jar full of like tea. I don't know what the fuck he's drinking.
And he's walking around and he's like, look, if you think that this is going to be an easy class, you're dead wrong. This is my territory, and we're going to not just be dissecting pop culture. We're not just going to be watching movies and you get an easy A. We're going to be looking at this. We're going to be dissecting it. We're going to be talking about it. We're going to be analyzing it. I was like, man, this guy should get a podcast too.
There's a lot of people coming for our jobs in this episode.
I know, man. Yeah. Especially Joe's Fashion Corner.
Yeah, Joe's Fashion Corner has definitely been taken over.
I know. But then Buffy turns to somebody and she asks a question. I didn't hear what her question was.
I think she's asking like, is it okay to like what do you say when you
like audit
this class? Like if you sign up, can you sign up? And she's asking someone who seems like they're not paying any attention to her.
Yeah. But the teacher hears her and he's like, and we're not going to be messing around in this class. And my introduction is being interrupted by someone who could it be? It is a blonde girl. Girl.
He said that with like racist overtones.
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
He said it like he was from the South talking about a black guy or something. Yeah. Like it was pretty intense.
I was like 5 people should have looked at him like, are they talking about me? Like,
yeah. I mean, he looks directly at Buffy and he's like, blonde girl. Blonde girl who's talking, stand up. What are you talking about, blonde girl? Tell the whole rest of the class. And Buffy's like, I was just asking if there's still space in this class. And he's like, well, is your name on this list? He holds up a clipboard because if your name's not on this list, you're wasting everyone's time. You're interrupting my lecture. You're interrupting my class. You're interrupting these people's learning. So is your name on this list? And Buffy's like, I don't know. And then he's like, you know what? Just leave. Get out. You're wasting my time. You're wasting everybody's time. Leave, blonde girl. And Buffy's like, Jesus Christ. Okay.
Dude, I was like, man, that is harsh, dude. It's the first day of school.
Yeah.
This is a guy, you know what it is? It's a bitter film student, you know, like wanted to make movies his whole life. And now he teaches a class and he's just bitter.
Yeah, man.
And then he's just taking it out on students that are just trying to get a random credit. You don't even have to go to that class.
Also, it's very impressive that he could hear Buffy talk because Buffy's sitting way far in the back.
Yeah.
Like, that guy is just like, blonde girl.
I was like, she should just feed him to a vampire.
Yeah.
like that guy.
So Buffy leaves that class and she's a little stunned and she's like, Jesus, is this what college is really going to be about? Because I would have felt the same way.
Yeah.
So she's walking through the halls of college and she runs into Riley, the TA from psych class, and he's like, oh, hey, you looking for psych? And Buffy's like, oh, yeah, I'm looking for psych. And he's like, well, walk with me. I'm going there right now. And she's like, oh, man, sorry again for hitting you in the head. Your name is Riley, right? And he's like, yeah, I just, what's your name again? She's like, it's Buffy. He's like, right.
Well, he goes like, oh, Willow's friend.
Oh, yeah.
Which is not set up from like her in high school. It was never, oh, Willow's Buffy's friend. That never happened. So it wasn't like she's the cool girl that was opposite side, but sure.
So he walked her to class, and Buffy's like, all right, thanks for walking me to class. You're a really nice guy. And he was like, and Buffy's like, hey, by the way, this Walsh lady that's teaching us, Maggie Walsh, is she gonna call me out for being confused and kick me out of class? And Riley's like, it's not on the curriculum today. Buffy's like, thank God.
Remember that episode in, I guess, season 2, when Buffy comes back and that teacher doesn't remember who she is? That was so funny. She goes up to her, she's like, you really helped me. And she's like, I have no idea who you are.
Yeah, she was like looking for, well, this was season 3. This is the beginning of season 3.
Yeah, season 3, right when she got back, yeah.
Trying to get reinstated to school.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Buffy takes her seat next to Willow and Oz, and Maggie Walsh comes into class. She's like, hello, everybody. This is Psych 105. We're not going to fuck around in this class. Most people, they call me Professor Walsh. But if you get on my bad side, you can call me what the TAs have nicknamed me, the evil bitch monster of death.
Yeah, it seems weird that... it just seems weird that Riley would be talking so highly about the class, but also joke around with the TAs that's her name.
Yeah, like what? Riley's like, no, this isn't going to be that bad of a class. Don't worry about it. And Maggie Walsh comes and she's like, you fuck with me, I'll kill you. Get on my bad side. I'm the evil death monster of bitch.
Yeah, that's not really how classes went.
No, all of my teachers were really nice and like wanted the kids to like them and shit.
Especially in those stadium classes where it's like full, like when it's not a small class like that.
Yeah.
Like they just give lectures and you do the assignments and
I never had like a mean professor. I had one. So I took a class called The Sociology of Sexuality. Mm-hmm. And it was taught by this lady who was like certified hated men. I was the only man in that class. And she was just not a fan.
I mean, she sees you walking out of the frat house coming to class.
Yeah, man. She was no fan of mine. Yeah. Your boy got a C in that class.
Hope you didn't work for that C.
No. But yeah, so Professor Walsh, she's not going to be a cakewalk either. Buffy's like, oh God, no, this is a tough class as well.
At least she's sitting next to Oz and Willow here.
Yeah, she could cheat off of them.
Yeah.
So Buffy is like, dude, I am out of my element. This is crappy. I'm going to go do what I do best. I'm going to walk around alone at night.
Right? It couldn't be any danger here.
So she's walking around alone at night and she's like looking around. She's not seeing any vampires or anything. And she's like, all right, maybe it is kind of safe here on campus 5 miles away from the Hellmouth and where the high school exploded and where all of my peril. 5 miles. That is not far at all. So then she's walking. She's got her head down. She's kind of lost. She's looking for her dorm building. And she bumps into a guy. She runs into a guy named Eddie who is also lost. And he's like, well, I'm lost too. And you're lost. And I got a map. So I'm even more lost than you. And Buffy's like, yeah, you big fat fucking loser. And Buffy's like, I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. And Eddie's like, yeah, I am too. Buffy's like, I feel like I need to have my security blanket. You know, I got to have like a security blanket. And Eddie goes, yeah, like human bondage. And Buffy's like, fucking what?
As soon as he said that, I was like, all right, this is definitely going to play a role later. Because it's like, no way you just bring that up.
Yeah. And Buffy's like, I mean, I'm not really into that kind of stuff. I've been trying to cut back on my porn watching, and I've been doing a little too much.
Cut back, Buffy.
But Eddie's like, no. Human Bondage. It's a book. It's my favorite book, and I always have it by my nightstand, and it's my security blanket. Whenever I feel lost or whatever, I always just like read Human Bondage. I read it like 10 times. I definitely recommend it. Mm-hmm. And Buffy's like, I don't fucking read. Look at me. I'm a hot blonde. But he's like, you have a security blanket? And Buffy's like, yeah, I got Mr. Pointy. And he's like, what? And she's like, oh, it's nothing. Don't worry about it.
Did you recognize who this guy is, this actor?
No, I did not. Who is it?
This is Pedro Pascal, Mandalorian himself.
Really?
The villain in Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah, he was in
Game of Thrones.
Wasn't he in that Nicolas Cage movie where Nicolas Cage? Dude, that movie was ridiculous.
I haven't seen that, but yeah, he's that guy in that. He's also in the upcoming Last of Us series. I was like, this is Pedro, but this is the Mandalorian here.
Hell yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. But yeah, he's like, yeah, Mr. Pointy, huh? And she's like, oh, it's just don't worry about it. Shut up.
Shut up, it's over there, the building, I found it.
Yeah, she's like, oh, look, there's your dorm. Thanks for letting me walk you to your dorm.
Yeah, it seems like here would have been a nice moment for her to make a bond with some guy here.
Well, I think that they did. They were like, hey, let's
well, I mean,
they're in the same psych class.
Yeah, but just like he's no longer. Spoiler alert, he's no longer with us.
Yeah.
But I thought it was like, oh, cool. Pedro's going to get a couple episodes. He could be a new Scott Hope for a minute.
Yeah, but he's like, all right, well, I'll see you tomorrow in psych. Let's see if we can, make it through this year together. And Buffy's like, all right, yeah. All right, thanks, Eddie. I'll see you tomorrow. Eddie turns a corner and gets immediately captured by a gang of vampires.
Now, if you're a gang of vampires and two people split off, who are you taking? The guy or the little blonde girl?
The little blonde girl, for sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. The plot armor is really strong with Buffy this episode.
Well, I guess you would take whoever walks by where you're hiding, because that's kind of what happens. Like, they didn't chase after Eddie.
True.
They kind of had a trap set up, I guess, a little
I guess everyone's just walking it. Well, I mean, it's campus, so I'm sure pretty much everyone's walking at night.
Hey, it's me, the Quenchies. I'm that late afternoon craving you just can't shake. Wait, what's that? Welch's Grape Aid? No! Made with real fruit and no added sugar, nothing answers the call of the Quenchies like Grape Aid. Got the Quenchies? Grab a Grape Aid in your juice aisle.
In this ad for the Mobile One brand, I have 30 seconds to talk about driving, which might be what you're doing right now. Maybe you're in the car, you're free, you're in control, on an open road with an open calendar. Your mind is wandering, and you're going with it. Or maybe you're stuck at work, in meetings, or emails, or worse, meetings about emails. And if that's the case, there's only one question. Why? Mobile One, for the love of driving. Visit loveofdriving.us/radio to learn more.
So Eddie gets captured by the vampires, and they're like, oh, today's not your lucky day, buckaroo. And so the gang of vampires then go and raid Eddie's room. They steal all of his shit. They even steal his bed sheets and stuff.
Yeah, they go all the way down to it's just a bare mattress.
Yeah. So then they write a note that's kind of like a...
I couldn't cut it in school. I had to leave. Who was that note for?
It's for his roommate.
Is it?
But what is he gonna do?
Yeah, he could have just.
If I was his roommate, I wouldn't have told anybody. But I'd be like, "Ooh, your boy got a single."
Yeah, exactly. Hey, anybody? This stranger that I just met one today, left.
I would have crumpled that fucking note up and been like, "All right, that guy's lost." Party in Joe's room.
I love that they leave a note and then no one asks, hey, no parent is like, hey, where's my son or daughter?
Yeah.
they enrolled here 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. So Buffy goes to psych class and she's looking around and she's like, I can't find the one friend that I made. I'm looking for Eddie. And Willow's like, hey, you looking for some? Or somebody's like, you looking for somebody? And she's like, yeah, I'm looking for this guy I met last night. Can't really find him. And Willow's like, oh, you made a friend. And Buffy's like, well, I guess not. So she goes over to his dorm room and
yeah, I guess you can just find out what his last name was and figure out the exact dorm room. Like, she's in the room. Like, the TA, the RA is letting her in.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, our dorms, like when we were in those high rises, like they were segregated. Like one side of the building was girls and one side was the guys.
Really?
Yeah, because they all shared a shower. There was like shower stalls, and like the girls had their shower stalls and the boys had their shower stalls.
We had different bathrooms, but it was like kind of just mixed with the rooms. Like you could be next to a double with girls. Like it was guys in their own rooms, girls in their own rooms, but like it wasn't sectioned off at all.
Interesting. Yeah. The college experience, everyone.
Yeah,
it's different everywhere.
Yeah. But they don't just let you into people's rooms.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So Buffy just goes and waltzes on into Eddie's room, and she sees all of his shit's all cleared out. She sees the note. She's like, this isn't adding up. He said he was going to be in class tomorrow. He doesn't seem like the type of guy to just bail. And then she looks into his drawer, his dresser, where he says he keeps human bondage, and lo and behold, human bondage is there. So Buffy's like, yo, this isn't right. He's left without a security blanket, his favorite book. No fucking way.
I don't know a lot about this guy, but the only thing I know about this guy is proof that he didn't just leave.
Yeah.
He gave me the one element.
The one clue.
Yeah.
So she's like, raises her eyebrow. She's like, I gotta figure this out. This is not right. So then we go to the vampire's lair. In the vampire's lair, they're going through all of the stolen stuff. They're going through all of Eddie's stolen shit and the other students that they've killed. They looking through them, and the leader of the pack is just like viciously bullying this one vampire, calling her fat, and like the other the fat, quote unquote fat vampire is like, I just want to feed on somebody. And the leader vampire, name is Sunday. She's like, yeah, I bet you fucking do, you fat pig. And the girl's like, geez, dude, come on.
And then the stoner bro is like, man, I just want to eat too. I'm like still hungry too. And she's like, you eat when I say you eat. And it's like, yeah, man, vampire hierarchy seems awful.
Yeah. And they also collect a collection of like Monet paintings that all of the dorks have. They're like, man, we got to start stealing from cooler kids, dude.
Yeah, it's all the freshmen that their posters, and their posters are either of Klimt or Monet. Mm-hmm. And they're got another Klimt, and they got like a little dry erase board that they're marking off, which is kind of funny. And I guess that was something happening at the time, but I don't remember that.
Yeah, I mean, everybody had those posters, like kind of like that Pink Floyd bullshit, like ladies with the butts poster, like a Red Hot Chili
Peppers. But I didn't see like a
bunch
bunch of people with like classical paintings.
Posters. Yeah, I didn't see that either.
We just didn't go to a classic school like UC Sunnydale.
True. We survived our college. There are no vampires roaming the streets at University of Maryland.
We don't know. Maybe there was a slayer protecting us.
True. There actually were people getting murdered a bunch at Maryland, but that's a story for another time. But we now see that Eddie is a vampire now. They call him Dead Eddie, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So Buffy's like, all right, this is suspicious. I'm going to go to the one guy that I know that I can turn to when I think something suspicious is up. I'm going to go over to Giles's apartment. Mm-hmm. So she waltzes on into Giles's apartment.
It's a house, I think.
Or his house, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Giles is also unemployed, but the Watchers have a great benefit plan.
Yeah. I mean, his house is nice. I mean, we saw it a bunch of times.
What does he do? Like, he's not even doing anything. Is he just independently wealthy?
Well, I'll tell you what he's doing. He's doing a lovely, lovely, sexy lady named Olivia. Buffy walks in and she's like, Giles, you here? Did Giles not lock his door? Like, or did
Buffy's got a key?
So she walks in, and this hot ass lady named Olivia comes in and she's Donald Ducking it.
Yeah,
she's Winnie Poohing. She's walking around with Giles' button down on and nothing on underneath. And Buffy's like, "Oh, you're not Giles? Is Giles here?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, Giles is here."
Yeah.
And
she's not even like flinching that like another lady just showed up. She's like, "I got Giles."
She's like, "Yeah, Giles is here. Don't worry about it." She's like, "Well, is this a bad time?" And Olivia's like, "No, don't worry about it. I'll go get him." And then Giles comes out in the fucking like Hugh Hefner robe. And I was like, "Oh, I like this Giles."
I gotta say, smoking jacket robe Giles is better than sweater Giles.
Yeah, man. He just needed a pipe. He needed a pipe.
Dude, I think it's the middle of the day. I think it's the middle of the day and he walks over and just grabs the scotch on the rocks. Like, it is amazing.
Yeah, like, and so Buffy's like, "I'm sorry, are you guys in the middle of something? This is a bad time." And Giles is like, "No, don't worry about it." And Olivia's like, "Yeah, I'm just here visiting. Giles like, "This is my old friend Olivia." She's like, "Anytime I'm in town, I gotta pay a visit to my Ripper." Yeah. And I was like, God damn.
Dude, Giles is just like such an interesting person, man.
I know. But dude, also when she says like, "I gotta pay a visit to our Ripper," Giles is like smirking like a motherfucker. Like, yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I'm flying him in. I'm flying him in.
Mr. International over here. So Buffy is wholly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And Olivia's like, "Don't worry about it. I'm just going to go slip into something a little less comfortable." But it was like that. Yeah. So she goes away and Giles is like, "What's up, Buffy?" She's like, "Giles, I got to tell you something, man. There's something going on at college. I made a friend and then he went missing." And Giles was like, "Yeah, so?"
Then he grabs a drink and he's like, "Yeah, that's not my problem anymore."
Yeah, basically. Buffy's like, "We got to do research. We got to figure out, we got to get to the bottom of this. Something's fishy here." And Giles is like, "Hey, man, you quit the Watchers. I'm not your Watcher. You're on your own, kid."
And Buffy knows that. She's like, "I think there's a gang of vampires running around."
Yeah.
Like, she immediately jumps to gang of vampires.
Yeah, man.
This could have been a work of one vampire.
Giles is like, "This could have been an email. Why?" That's the energy. He's like, "Why'd you come all the way here for this bullshit?" Like,
yeah,
he's like, "You're the Slayer, dude. Yeah. You can fucking figure this out. This doesn't sound like anything that you can't do. You know how to research.
Yeah.
I taught you all this shit in high school.
Yeah.
Figure it out." And Buffy's like, "Oh, I guess it was a bad time." And she leaves and Giles is like, "All right, ask my girl."
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I thought she'd be like, "Wait, you're not hooking up with my mom anymore, so that's a plus."
I did love that he like kind of threw it in her face like, "Dude, you quit the Watchers. I'm not a Watcher. I got fired. You quit the Watchers. This shit that doesn't work. This isn't a thing anymore, dude." Like,
well, he did say, "You're the most important thing to me and your well-being." Like, he doesn't fully push her away, but he's like, "Hey, little birdie, you got to fly at some point." And I'm like, is that how Watchers and Slayers work? They never go like, "Oh, you've reached 20, you can go slay and be free." Man. I don't think that's how Watcherdom works.
But so Buffy leaves and Olivia's like, "Oh, did you help her already?" And Giles, he's like, "Fuck if I know."
And then she grabs the drink.
Yeah.
He's living his best life right now. Everybody is, except for
it's awesome.
Buffy.
Yeah. So Buffy is like walking around campus and she's walking around at night and she's like, "Damn, how can I do patrol with all these fucking people around? This is going to be tricky." And she looks off into the distance. She sees a figure that looks similar to Eddie, her old friend that's gone missing. And she's like, "Eddie?" She goes and follows him and she catches up to him and she's like, "Eddie, is that you?" She spins Eddie around and Eddie's full vampire face. And she's like, "Ow, Eddie," stakes him immediately.
Yeah, well, I was like, "Oh, this will be more." Nope.
Nope. She's like, fuck. Well, there went my one friend.
And this is why I like that they disappear,
Yeah. So then she turns around and she gets confronted by this head honcho on campus. vampire named Sunday, and she's like, oh, so I heard that the Slayer was going to start going to UC Sunnydale, but I didn't expect you to be here so quickly or whatever. And then a gang of vampires surround Buffy, and Buffy's like, well, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. And Sunday's like, I'd like to see you try. And then the gang starts like, and she's like, no, I'll take this one myself. She jumps off from this like little pedestal that she was on. I don't know what she is. And she just beats the shit out of Buffy.
First, she rips Buffy's clothes.
Oh, you're right.
Rips her outfit. Like, he not rips her outfit, but like tells her
she
her
burns
outfit.
her.
Yeah, he tells her.
She roasts her.
Yeah. Tells her her outfit is so like, it makes fun of her jacket or her pants or something.
And you know what? I feel like it was unwarranted. This is a decent outfit. I think it was just to throw Buffy off.
Well, I think they joke about it again later too, and they make fun of her clothes more.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not the style of Sunday. You know what I mean? It's like if Drusilla was to make fun of Willow's clothes. You know?
Yeah.
And Buffy falls for it and gets sucker punched so hard.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. She gets the shit beat out of her, dude. Like,
this is brutal.
Sunday is going to town, and in my head I was like, oh, is like the classes are harder in college? Are the vampires harder? Like,
I'm like, you just fought a demon, like you fought Angel multiple times in one, but this girl is wailing on you.
Yeah. Like, she's like chucking her on top of a car
and flipping her over.
Yeah. Like, it looks like she breaks her arm. Like, she like bends it backwards and like snaps it. And I was like, oh my God. Buffy's like writhing on the ground in pain. And she's like, oh, motherfuck. Like,
yeah, I was like, who's going to come and save her at this point? Like, because she is done for.
Yeah, man. So Buffy gets up and she looks around and she's just like, I'm surrounded. My arm feels terrible. I want to run. So she just runs and she's like crying. She's like, this is fucking so. She trips. She does a horror movie trip.
Yeah, I was like, oh, come on, Buffy, you're a Slayer.
I know. She runs up to her. She runs away and she runs to her dorm room. She goes to sleep. She's like, oh, this fucking stinks. And so it's the next day. She's got a big old black eye. She's clutching her arm because her arm still hurts. And she's walking around. She's like, who can I turn to? Who can I turn to? She sees Willow and Oz, and they're having fun. They're talking to somebody else, and Buffy's like, I don't want to bother them. So then she goes away, and she walks off campus, and then we go to the vampire's lair, and Sunday, and the vampires are just roasting Buffy, dude. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, my favorite part was when you like ripped her outfit. She's like, oh, no, not my outfit.
Joe's fashion corner takeover.
I know, man.
Sunday's corner.
Yeah. Sunday, stay in your own fucking lane, all right? That wasn't even that bad of an outfit.
They could say a lot about that for Joe's fashion corner, too.
Yeah. I mean, I wish Sunday would have been around earlier when she was wearing that Jackie O bullshit. But yeah, they're trashing her. And then they're like, you know what? That Slayer, she's not even going to last through the night. She's overwhelmed. She's out of her element. She doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. You know what, everybody? We're going to hit the tunnels tonight. Go to the tunnels. She's ordering her little minions around. So Buffy goes home to her actual home. And she's like, Mom, are you there? Mom? She walks upstairs. And I thought that we were going to have another situation like Giles. I thought
that would be amazing. If Giles was there,
I would have lost my shit.
Giles was like, I'm going to have a personal life, Buffy.
Yeah, I did like that. He was like, you expect me not to have a personal life? And she's like, no, you're old and you're gross. And Giles was like, Jesus.
He's like, not too old to bang your mom.
Yeah. Well, before death comes and gets me, I'm going to try and get as much pussy as I can. But no such luck. Joyce is just there, and she's like, oh, hey, what's up, Buffy? I didn't expect you to be home so soon. And Buffy's like, yeah, I didn't expect to be either, but college is kind of scary. And her mom was like, Jesus, you get into a fight or something? Buffy's like, yeah, they started it, though. But her mom just keeps being like, I didn't expect you to be home so soon.
Yeah.
I didn't expect you to be home so soon. And I was swearing that like a dude was going to come from around the corner. I was thinking something like that was going to happen.
Yeah.
But no. Buffy's like, I just want to go and chill out in my room. So Buffy opens the door to her room and she looks in, and her mom has got a bunch of like packages from her art gallery laying in there. And Buffy's like, what happened to my room? And her mom's like, I told you I didn't expect you to be back so soon.
There's no way you would take those heavy crates up the stairs and put them in Buffy's room. It's great it logistically makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like those are things you have to like move on like hand carts.
Yeah, she would have had to dolly those all the way up the stairs. Like, and there was like 10 of them in there.
Yeah, those would be in the living room. And I don't know how the mom goes to the art gallery without getting killed.
Dude, right?
Like nighttime gallery openings. Poof. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, then Buffy's like, man, I don't even have a home anymore. Well, I can't even come back to my actual home. Like, I don't feel comfortable at school.
You could get on the bed. You could move a crate and hop on the bed.
She's like, I can't fit in here. It's like, just weasel your way around.
Yeah.
Jesus, stop being such a bum. So then she goes downstairs and the phone rings and Buffy picks it up. She's like, hello? Hello? And she just hangs the phone on. There's silence. Nobody's on the other line. But boy, do we find out who's on the other line if you subscribe to our Patreon.
Yeah, this is how it's tied together. The loosest threads ever.
Subscribe to our Boys Watching Angel Patreon if you want to find out who's on the other line.
It might not surprise you.
Oh, man. So she hangs up the phone and Buffy goes back to school and she goes to her dorm room and she sees that her dorm room has been ransacked and like, well, not ransacked. Everything that she owns is gone.
Like, do they come when the roommate's in class? Like, how do they get all that stuff out of the hallway?
Well, because we saw them talking about this during the day, I feel like, right?
Well,
that's
I just
why she
mean
said go to the tunnels.
I just mean like you're in the hallway of a, like, you know, dorms are bustling activities.
Yeah.
People's classes aren't just like 9 to 5. Like you have random class for like an hour and then you have like 3 hours to kill before another class. All of a sudden, these vampires are just taking this girl's stuff out of her room.
Yeah, and it's a lot of stuff, dude.
Yeah, she had a whole desk, computer, like she had a whole
they hire
thing.
A moving company or something.
Yeah. When they took that guy's stuff, it was like a sheet, a shirt.
Yeah. But yeah, Buffy gets to her room and she sees the little fake note that they left. She's like, fuck, this is how they do it.
Yeah.
They're doing it to me. That's a pretty surreal and crazy thing to be like, this is my own like suicide note that I'm reading that I didn't write. Like this is how they're framing this.
And she left it there too. She leaves the note there. She doesn't take it with her.
That was wild to me too. I was like, why don't you like crumple that up or something?
Don't you fold that up, put it in your pocket?
Write another note on the other side. Say, never mind, Buffy.
hey, roommate. I'm sorry I put you in this situation, but don't answer the door for anyone.
Don't invite anyone into our room.
Sleep with a cross. I don't care if you're religious or not.
Yeah. So, I mean, that would be a head trip to see like, oh, this is how they're planning to kill me. And this is like, you know, I saw that and I was like, man, that had to be really fucking freaky.
Freaked out. Just go to your room and all your shit's stolen too. Like she takes that with like a grain of salt. She's like, I lost some stuff. I'm like, really? Also, I was a little pissed that Buffy didn't immediately go to Willow and Oz and be like, hey, there's a gang of vampires. Watch out.
Yeah. No, they're too busy, you know, being popular.
They're talking to someone that might die tomorrow. So, okay. Shouldn't have warned them.
But, so what does Buffy do in this situation?
What any girl in Sunnydale does.
She takes a sad trip to the Bronze. She goes to the Bronze to
Dude, when she rubs her hand on the pool table like she hasn't been to the Bronze in like 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure you've gone there over the summer.
She's just like looking around like, oh, the memories of the Bronze.
Like, it's been the summer. It's not like... I get the effect, but there's no way she has longing memories of the Bronze, like they've never been there.
Yeah, man. So she's all sad at the Bronze. They're playing some mopey song there. She's looking around. She sees somebody that kind of resembles Angel. And she's like, Angel?
This guy auditioned for Angel like years ago and they brought him back.
Yeah.
He's like, this is it.
And then he turns his head even more and it's not Angel. And Buffy's like, God damn it. So she's looking around. She's feeling real lonely. She goes to sit down on that couch that's like underneath of the stairs. And who shows up but Xander? He's like, hey, what's up, Buffy? And she's like, oh my God, Xander. Someone that I know and like. And he's like, wow, you go off to college and you come back here. Why the fuck are you here?
The hero of the episode just showed up.
Yep. And Buffy's like, hey, why didn't you call me and tell me that you were back from your cross-country trip? And Xander's like, that trip that definitely happened. Yeah.
Well, he's like, oh, you were in college and I wanted you guys to get settled first before I start bumming around.
And she's like, so how was it? What was your favorite thing? He's like, well, I saw Grand Canyon. And Buffy's like, oh, how was the Grand Canyon? He's like, well, I saw Grand Canyon movie on TV. I made it to Oxnard, which is not very far.
Not very far at all. And I don't even know what that Grand Canyon movie is.
Yeah, me neither.
Do they only watch old movies? like what is that?
So he's like, I made it to Oxnard and my engine fell out of my car, literally. So I had to work at a ladies' night club to pay for the repairs, which is like an all-male review, gentleman dancing thing. And he's like, and one day I broke something there and I couldn't pay for that. So the only way that they knew how to get me some more money was to make me one of the gentleman dancers there. And that is as far as I will go with this story. House college.
He was a dishwasher turned male stripper. Which is a story as old as time.
Good for him, dude. He made it sound like being a male stripper would be bad. Being a male stripper would be fucking sick.
Would being a female stripper be sick?
No, absolutely not.
I think being a male stripper is not all it's cracked up to be either.
It's not all it's cracked up to be, but I think
that Chippendales movie is coming out with Kamal Nanjiani.
I feel like male strippers are prouder to be male strippers than female strippers are to be female strippers.
No, but I think the pride depends on the person.
Are we allowed to say strippers anymore?
We're saying male strippers, and I mean stripping is just taking your clothes off. Like, how would that be offensive? Should we say exotic dancers? Like that sounds wrong.
I feel like for some reason it's not cool to say stripper anymore.
Well, what do you like to be called, Joe?
Yeah, well, I am kind of in that world now.
What is your title?
I'm a dancer. I'm a dancer.
Okay,
Vance.
so he's a male. Yeah, I think that would offend real dancers. Like if you're dancing in Black Swan and some.
Well, I don't really. I'm an aerialist. Let's be clear about this. My dance moves aren't that great.
But we've seen. I will say this: Xander's looking good. He's looking like he buffed up a little bit more. He looks a little different this season.
Yeah.
A little older. I'm a little older. Yeah. I think Sarah Michelle Gellar is the only one that didn't look that much different.
Yeah, she looks pretty much exactly the same.
Yeah, which is a good thing. I mean,
good for her, man.
Yeah.
But maybe they were trying to make that happen, to see like everyone's going through all these changes in their lives and she's still like stuck in like high school town.
No, it works a lot.
Yeah. So Xander's like, well, that's my story. I didn't make it to any of the states. How's college? And Buffy's like, it's okay. And Xander's like, no, for real, how's college? And Buffy's like, fucking sucks. Willow's having so much fun. And Oz is having so much fun. Oz has a bunch of friends. And I fought a vampire and she beat the shit out of me last night. And I don't even know if I'm cut out to do any of this. And Xander's like, whoa, 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 wow, wow. He's like, dude, you think that you're not cut out for this? You're Buffy. You're Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And Buffy's like, but what if I'm not?
Yeah. He says a line that says, you look like you were diagnosed with cancer of the puppy.
Yeah.
I just remember noting that. I was like, that is a very dark way to describe her look. But yeah.
So he also is like, well, if there's a vampire gang in town, we got to get the gang back together. You know, Avengers assemble. Oh, wink, 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 wink for good old Joss Whedon's future.
Yeah, that's all he was thinking about when he was making this scene. He was like, how can I do?
So Buffy's like, no, I don't want to fucking bother Willow and Oz. And Xander's like, well, I ain't got shit to do. I'm down to help you. And Buffy's like, no, I don't want to drag you into this. And he's like, Buffy, I want you to know this. Whenever I am alone and scared at night, and I feel the most alone and terrified, I always think, what would Buffy do? You're my hero, Buffy. And in times when I'm dark and scared, I think, what would you do? And Buffy's like, oh, thank you. And he's like, I mean, some other times when I'm alone and it's dark out at night, I think, what would Buffy be wearing? And Buffy's like, did not need to know that. Xander's like, but now you do.
Yeah. Like, you know how I feel about you. It's never changed. It doesn't matter if I have Cordy or Willow. Or Anya, or Faith,
or Faith.
He's like, all of them. He's like, I've been with a Slayer once before, you know.
Yeah, like, look, I already broke that ice. I've already crossed that line. It's like that.
You've been with a vampire. I've been with a Slayer. Let's just make this happen.
So Xander then stands up. He's like, all right, let's just go do it. Let's fucking, if there's vampires to be hunted, let's go hunt them. And Buffy stands up. She's like, thank you, Xander. And he's like, no problem. So then they go and they do gang shit. They do their research. They're in a library.
They broke into a library, and I don't know which one.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if it was the high school one, but the high school doesn't exist. It kind of looks like it, but like,
yeah,
there's a lot of breaking into libraries. And if you subscribe to our Patreon, you'll figure that out.
They love the research montage.
They love those fucking breaking into libraries.
I got a lot to say about the Angel one.
No library is safe in either of these fucking shows. But they're researching.
The library might still be open. Now the school library would be closed, but yeah, and she doesn't have a computer. Up. And no, I'm saying like the college.
Oh yeah.
And she doesn't have a laptop or a computer anymore. So yeah, okay.
I mean, I feel like I knew kids that pulled all-nighters at the school library.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just she had to punch something.
Yeah. So they're tapping away on their keyboards, and Xander's like, "Oh, I found something. I think it's the Psi Theta house. Got it abandoned because of some bullshit."
They've been doing this. Vampire gang's been doing this for 18 years.
Yeah, since 1982.
And I'm just like, really? Like this, they were just getting random notes, and they're like, "All right, someone left again."
Yep.
No parent ever asked.
No one. But yeah, Xander's like, yeah, all these kids, they keep disappearing. This is the same way that it always happens. They act like they're too crazed for school or too overwhelmed, and then they just disappear. So Buffy's like, all right, let's go to the Psi Theta house. So they go over there and they climb up onto the roof, and Buffy's on a skylight and she's looking down. She's like, yep, that's definitely them. Yeah. And they're raiding Buffy's stuff, and they're like, well, look at those terrible fucking clothes. And Buffy's like, you wouldn't even be able to fit into those with those hips. And they're like, look at this terrible stuffed animal. And Buffy's like, Mr. Porco or whatever his name is. Gordo, Mr. Gordo.
Is that from season 2? 1? I know she references it at some point.
That's a deep cut.
I know, it's a deep I remember hearing it, but yeah.
And then they're like, we found her diary. And they're like, and Xander's like, I'll step out now. Yeah. I'm going to go find Willow and Oz, and we're going to get the gang, and we're going to say that, hey, there's a bunch of vampires.
She's like, she doesn't see her weapons chest that she took to school. How did they move the weapons chest? That's like 2 people carrying that thing.
Right? That chest is huge. It's like the size of Buffy's body.
Yeah. So, they took the weapon chest. She's like, oh, go find Willow. Go find the weapon chest in my room. Mm-hmm. If not, go to Willow's or something. Yeah. Because they all have weapon chests.
So Xander leaves. And then Buffy's still watching this. And she's like, this is fucking bullshit. Oh, you guys are gonna pay. You're fucking with the wrong Slayer. And then she just breaks through the skylight. Just like, wait till I get all my weapons and my friends. We're all gonna beat the crap out of you. She falls through the skylight.
I was like, she's dead.
She absolutely would be dead.
No, not just the fall. Like I'll let her survive the fall, but she just got her ass kicked by this person.
Well, and it was in a one-on-one. Now she falls through the skylight already with a like hurt arm.
Yeah.
Falls through the skylight, and now she's surrounded by even more vampires. It's not just like the 3 or 4 that were in the park. Like I feel like there's more in that little lair.
Yeah, maybe 1 or 2
I think there's like 1 or 2 more.
But it's like if they all decide to attack her, even if just the one attacks her, she can't run this time. They won't just let her run away.
Yeah. So she looks up and she's like, oh, I got the drop on you. and Sunday's looking at her like, what was your plan? You're just going to fall in here and do what? And Buffy's like, you're forgetting you made a huge mistake. And Sunday's like, oh yeah, what's that? And Buffy's like, I haven't quite figured it out yet, but I'm sure that you made at least one mistake at some point. And then Sunday just decks her, dude.
Dude, Buffy gets hit in the face so many times.
Dude, this whole gang of vampires now just starts wailing on Buffy. And I was like, I'm here for this. This is hilarious.
I was like, she's dead, right? Like,
she absolutely should be.
It's no way Xander gets across campus to the place and back.
So then we go to Buffy's dorm room where Oz and Willow are, and they're like, something's up. Buffy wouldn't just leave. They're reading the note, and they're like, this isn't like Buffy. She wouldn't just do this without telling us, her best friends. And Kathy's standing there like, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. I mean, this is all the evidence I got.
Buffy's never left unannounced except for that one time when she left and changed her name for 2 months.
For several months.
But she had a good reason. Reference. Yeah, she had a good reason.
There were circumstances.
She didn't change her name. She just used her middle name.
Yeah. But Oz is looking at the note and he's like, this isn't Buffy's handwriting either. Like, look at this. Something's not right here.
Yeah, I'm surprised Willow didn't pick that up.
Yeah, like how did Oz pick that up?
Yeah. And she's like, Oz, why are you not freaking out? He's like, I'm just, years of practice of being calm under these situations. Like, yeah. I'm like, how you just fought the mayor? Like, why are you guys freaking?
Yeah. So as they're all kind of like, something's up, this is suspicious, Xander shows up and he's like, hey, what's up, guys? Hey, nice to see you all. Hey. And he hugs Kathy and he's like, I don't know you, do I? And she's like, no. And he's like, this is intrusive, isn't it? And she's like, a little bit. And he's like, I'm sorry. Hey, I'm Xander. She's like, I'm Kathy. And I was like, is Xander going to bang Kathy?
Well, anytime you watch a show and it's like opposite genders, you're just like, okay, yeah, that's the one for him.
Yeah.
Unless Oz is like, I'm torn between Kathy and Willow now. But he comes in and says it's a prank.
Yeah, he's like, this is a prank. This is one of Buffy's hilarious. Her friends are pranking us. Don't worry about it. And they're like, friends? Well, she doesn't have any friends, like except for us. Who could be? And he's like, yeah, you know her friends, the ones that only go out really at night, and they're very pale and they don't have tans. And
Kathy's looking like, what is happening?
Yeah, and then Willow and Oz are like, oh, something's up. Yeah. And then Xander goes around and he's like, the chest isn't here, Willow, we need to go to your room. And what a hilarious prank. All right, see you, Kathy. And Kathy's like, okay, see you. I got a single party at Kathy's.
Kathy's like, I don't know what's going on, but I don't like it.
Yeah. So Buffy is just getting the shit beat out of her in that little frat house. Like all the gang of vampires are taking their turns wailing on her. And Buffy sees her weapons chest and she's like, ooh, I gotta get over to that. But she is just in no shape to be doing that.
No.
She's like crawling on the ground. And then Sunday, the head vampire, is like, I loved going through all of your stuff, dude. It's a lot of embarrassing shit. Like, it's a lot of embarrassing shit, especially this. And she pulls out the Class Protector Award. And I was like, oh no, Sunday.
I hope you're just planning to twirl that around.
Oh, Sunday, no.
Yeah.
And she's like, you got this from your little stupid high school, your Class Protector, huh? Vampire Slayer. She throws it on the ground and she stomps on it and it breaks. And I was like, oh no. Oh no. Oh, Sunday.
Sunday.
When I first saw Sunday, I was like, oh, is this like the new kind of like big bad for a little couple episodes? And when she threw that glass protector, I was like, Sunday's dead.
Yep.
Sunday's dying in a horrible fashion.
Yep.
So she stomps on the glass protector thing and she breaks Buffy's arm some more. It seems like she grabs Buffy's arm and she's like snapping it. And she's like, Buffy's like, you're going to regret doing that. And she's like, am I going to regret doing this? And she's like, on her arm. And Buffy's like, well, guess what? You didn't break my arm. It just hurts. And then the whole gang arrives.
I think she says that a little later.
Oh, yeah. You know what? You're right.
This is when she says, I only need one arm.
Yeah. Punches her. And then the gang arrives and they're like, Buffy, you need some help. And they all have weapons and shit. And they all start staking all the other, minion vampires. Mm-hmm. And Buffy starts beating up Sunday.
How do you march into the building without the crossbow already loaded, Willow?
Dude.
Willow comes in and she's like loading the crossbow as a vampire comes and just shoots the dude vampire like right in the chest, like at the last moment. But I'm like,
did she even shoot it? It seemed like the dude vampire just walked into there.
Yeah, like the vampires just be walking chest first into like arrows. But I was like, yeah, how do you know you're going and you didn't load that up on the walkover?
Yeah.
And it's not a crossbow fight. Like after the first shot, you can't reload it in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they, Buffy goes to town on Sunday and then she eventually stakes Sunday and Sunday's like, oh.
Well, I mean, she doesn't just stake Sunday.
She just chucks like Mr. Pointy at her.
She does a little spin. Like she spins it like a gun in a holster and then like throws it across the room and hits Sunday in the chest. And then Sunday, like, it hits her in her chest and she just looks at it and it puts her hands on her hips. Like, ugh. And dies. Like it's really awesome.
Just exacerbated. She's like, oh, damn it.
Yeah. And the big moment here is that they let one vampire get away.
Yes.
And
well, nobody chases shit in here.
It was a campus full of kids. Buffy, go after this guy.
She's got a hurt arm.
Well, she says, Sunday has her arm and like looks like she snaps it back into place. Like she took it out of the socket and she's like, oh, I'm going to break your arm some more. She's like, guess what? It's not broken. And she uppercuts Sunday across the room. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh, okay, cool. And then she does the like stake flip and then throws across the room. And it looks pretty cool. It's a really cool move.
Real cool. Is it Slay of the Week? Ooh, is it Slay of the Week? I'll have to go to the Discord to find out.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot, but maybe.
So yeah, then they all pack up all of Buffy's stuff and they're like, oh, good to have the gang back together. And, Xander's like, you think anyone's going to actually come take any of that stuff? Because I might want some of it. And Buffy's like, I don't think anyone. He's like, dibs on the rowing machine.
I was just like, it does feel a little bad that it's just sitting there. Like, it seems unfair. Like, yeah.
I was like, this is where Xander's going to live on
campus.
I
can't believe this campus has just let this last for like 20 years.
Yeah, dude.
No one's been like, hey, what's going on in that building over there?
Well, it's been like the story is like, oh, it's zoning issues or some kind of crazy. There's always some kind of
paying attention
bureaucratic bullshit.
Once the research montage happened, I kind of zoned out.
Yeah, but so they're taking all of Buffy's stuff back and like it's good to have the gang back together. And then just as they're leaving the frat house and they're walking around campus, Giles comes running with his fucking gigantic axe and giant cross. He's like, Buffy, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I wanted you to be like a bird and fly on your own. And, I can't always look after you, but I don't give a fuck about that. I feel bad. I want to protect you. I want to fight alongside you and I want to fight evil with you. Please, where's the evil? Let's go fight it. And Buffy's like, okay, follow us. I'm going back to my dorm. And he's like, oh, is the evil this way?
Yeah.
It was a funny, exacerbated Giles in his little sweatshirt.
Well, he's got like the weapon, like he's got the weapons and they're like all bundled in his hand to a point where like he could never use one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to get the gang back together.
Yeah, I mean, you knew it was going to happen.
Yeah. So next episode, we'll figure out where Xander is. We'll figure out where Giles is.
Well, Xander is currently living in his parents' basement, paying rent.
Mm-hmm.
Giles has his house where he's banging copious amounts of women.
Yeah, but he's going to try to get closer to the school.
Dude, what if he has to take some kind of like really low, like prestige job where he's like, I don't know, he's just like like I said, but he's like the cafeteria worker or something, or like a janitor. I think
anything that puts him, I think he would need something with a little more flexibility. Like the librarian, he was able to just leave.
Yeah.
He needs something where he can just like up and go. Like maybe like a dorm monitor person. I don't know. He'll be like
it's gonna be RA.
Yeah, he'll just be an RA. If Wesley can be a chaperone at a school dance.
Very fair. So the gang's all back together, but that is not where the episode ends.
It isn't?
No, Vance.
I turned it off right away.
Well,
no.
You would have missed some great action happening after this. So the vampire that got away from the frat house, that ran off, he's running around campus and he's looking around. He's like, oh man, hope that nobody's chasing me, but also where am I going to get my next meal? I'm a lone vampire. I have to be an underling in a hierarchy.
Yeah, like he looks so nervous. I'm like, change your face and just walk.
Yeah. But instead of doing that, he gets shot with an electric taser bullet or something. He gets electrocuted. He's like, falls to the ground, and a bunch of like 3 guys in like balaclava and sniper and camo gear
like tactical,
surround him.
Yeah.
And
they're pointing guns.
Yeah, they're pointing like
straight up
like AR-15s,
assault rifles. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and at first I was like, are these Watcher goons?
Are these gonna blow this guy to smithereens?
Like that would have been crazy if it was like a RoboCop scene where it's just like
that would have been sick, dude.
That would have been so wild.
Just well, it's also like they're in camo gear and they're like in tactical stuff, but they're
on
still
the school
on
campus. Yeah.
They're still on school campus. And it's not like the vampire ventured far off of like a path.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck are these guys?
This is like the werewolf hunter, which I mistakenly in our season 3 recap thought he was in season. I thought he was a part of season 3, but it's part of season 2. It's like when he goes into the bronze.
Yeah.
Like with his rifle and starts talking about werewolves. They're just like pointing a gun at what you would ostensibly think, if you saw at a distance, was just a dude lying on the ground. Yeah.
Yeah. They zapped him, dude. But that is the episode. That is the freshman. We're officially on campus. We're big men on campus. We're big boys on campus at UC Sunnydale. What, you got anything else to say about this episode here, Vance?
No, I don't actually. It's pretty. You know what? This episode is, I feel like, a better opening than season 3's Anne.
Yes, 100%.
I don't know what I think about this ending. You know, I mean, it's fine. They're setting up stuff. I'll wait.
Yeah, they're setting shit up. The next episode, Vance, is titled "Living Conditions." You have any predictions?
I think this is going to be like roommate issues. With Buffy.
With Kathy.
Yeah. Just like, hey, you keep leaving like your bloody steaks around. Wash your steaks off when you kill a vampire. Like, yeah.
Or maybe it's like Kathy keeps bringing back guys and Buffy's coming back and being like, yo, dude. Like, or Buffy keeps almost getting caught. Mm-hmm. Maybe I feel like by the end of the next episode, Living Conditions, Buffy and Willow are going to be roommates. She's going to ask Kathy to leave. Like, this can't continue.
No, because then it would be no point in even introducing Kathy as a roommate in the first episode. I mean, I guess it's just to make her feel like unwanted, but
there was no point in introducing this Eddie guy. We thought that he was going to be best buds with her.
Well, Eddie was what led her to the gang, you know. I mean, they could Scott Hope Kathy.
They could Scott Hope Kathy.
But Kathy just met Xander.
I love how we use Scott Hope as a verb now. We 86, we Scott Hoped her.
Oh man, don't get Scott Hope. Hey, I'm Scott Hoping this weekend. Oh, old movie?
Dude, that guy really had no impact on anything.
Why'd you show up in season 5? Or they talk about him and oh yeah.
Yeah, he shows up as a head vampire in season 6 or some shit.
Yeah.
But that is it, everybody, for this episode. Thank you for listening. Remember, we have a concurrent podcast with this on our Patreon for $5 a month. It's Boys Watching Angel, and there are tie-ins to this episode with that. So you can hear our review of that for a little bit of shekels.
Yeah, it's going to be, we're releasing it the same as this. You get a Buffy and there's going to be an Angel. So once a week.
Yep. So subscribe to that Patreon. We also have another tier where it's our Angel podcast, and then Vance and I are reviewing movies too. One of those a month. And subscribe or sign up for our Discord. We got a lot of new people on the Discord. That's super awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining, everybody. That's awesome.
Yeah, join and say hi in the full spoilers section that we can't see.
Yeah, me and Vance are not allowed to go into that.
Yeah, if you want to rip us apart or something, you don't like what we're doing, but you love the podcast somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of fun stuff happening on the Discord. We got that Slay of the Week thing going on when it's not always just a slay. Follow the Instagram at Boys Watching Buffy if you want to write in. boyswatchingbuffy@gmail.com. And rate and review. You want to get a shout out. Yeah, that is it, everybody. And stay tuned next time for when we talk about living conditions.
How can you be so calm?
Long, arduous hours of practice.
Tune into the Salsa Kings Network. Crack one open if you dare, creeps.